Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Assalamu alaikum students. I hope you all are doing well, staying home, keeping yourself and your loved ones safe. In the physical classes, we did our first chapter, completed, and also completed the work. From now, we are starting the second chapter, Shah Abdul Latif Bhitai. Okay? I will be reading the chapter and also I will be explaining some difficult words over here which I will find difficult for you. So it will not be much difficult to understand the entire chapter. Shah is lovingly called Lal Latif by his devotees. Devotees means the followers. People who follow you or follow your sayings, that is called devotees. Was a noted Sindhi Sufi scholar, mystic, saint, and poet. Scholar is someone who also discuss or give his opinions in the religious matters. Mystic and saint is also a person who gets a lot of knowledge of religious thing, so he gets that spiritual power in himself or in herself, so he get more closer to God. He is considered as greatest Muslim poet of Sindhi language. Information about the life of Bhitai has mostly been collected from oral traditions. A renowned Pakistani scholar, renowned we can also say the famous person or a famous writer. Okay, a renowned Pakistani scholar, educationist, and writer of plays, dramas, and story, Mirza Khalid Beg, is said to have all collected details about the early life of Shah Bidai from some of the old people living at that time. These people had heard these facts from their fathers and grandfathers, some of whom had seen Shah Latif in person and had even spoken to him. What does this mean? It means that all the information or the knowledge about Shah Abdul Latif's life has been in this book or wherever has been taken from the oral traditions, means from the people who has heard about him from his fathers or forefathers, grandfathers, or some of the old people also had spoken to him or had even seen him, because in the late times there was no means of newspaper or media, so we can know about other people. As a Sufi poet, Latif's Urs is held at his shrine every year. Urs we can say as a celebration of birthday for famous people or famous people like Sufi poets and some famous people. We use word Urs for the celebration. Latif Urs is held as his shrine every year on 14th Safar, the second month of the Muslim calendar. Thousands of people gather and listen to the saint's song sung on the tamburo. Just note this word, I'll explain it later. Tamburo. Many learned men read papers that tell about Latif's life and his poetry. When on his Urs on 14th Safar, people gather on his shrine, on his tomb. Shrine is, we can call shrine as a tomb over his grave. So shrine is something, so people gather on his tomb for celebrating his Urs on 14th Safar, and also read the newspapers or his poetry or listen to the songs he used to listen. Some of the key aspects shared by different scholars about Lal Latif are given below. Some of the different scholars have heard about him and written a lot of things about him. So they has written it, and we are discussing the life aspects of Lal Latif. The first aspect we'll discuss is background and family. Shah Latif's ancestral roots. Ancestral means a place where your forefathers are like fathers, grandfathers, and their grandfathers have lived, is something ancestral. You can write here forefathers. West is Shah Latif's ancestral roots lay in Afghanistan. Some historians say that Shah's father, Sayyid Habib Shah, migrated from Matyaru. Matyaru is a place in Afghanistan to Bhenpur. Bhenpur is a place in Sindh. So some historians believe that their forefather or his father migrated from Matyaru to Bhenpur in Sindh. Sindh was then a center of Muslim culture, and Shah Latif's ancestors liked it so much that they decided to make it their home. As you all know that Muhammad bin Qasim first conquered Sindh for the Islam, as it is also called Babul Islam, the door of Islam. So Shah's father, Sayyid Habib Shah, liked it so much Sindh that he decided to make their home there. The aspect number 2, the name Bhitai, as his name was Shah Abdul Latif Bhitai. But why come Bhitai came from? In 1742, Shah Latif left his home and went to live on a mound. Mound is a place on sand, a little above from the ground. At some distance from his village, a mound of sand is called Bhit in Sindhi. That mound is called Bhit in Sindhi. So, due to the fact that he lived on this mound for the rest of his life, Shah Latif came to be known as the Saint of Bhit. To this day, he is famous all over the country as Shah Abdul Latif Bhitai or Shah Latif of the Mound. Means the place after his father's death, he went to a mound and he left his house. And he went to a mound of sand which is called Bhit in Sindhi. And from that day, the mound is also called the Saint of Bhit, and that Bhit just joined the name of Shah Abdul Latif Bhitai, and it came to be like Shah Abdul Latif Bhitai. Moving to the next page, page number 26. Aspect number 3, early life and education. Shah Bhitai was born in 1689 AD, 14th Safar 1102 AH, in a small village called Hala Haveli, a few miles to the east of the present town of Bhit Shah. Latif was raised during the golden age of Sindhi culture. His first teacher was Akhund Noor. Akhund is a word for teacher in Sindhi. Akhund Noor Muhammad Bhatti, but mainly he was self-educated. The first entire or basic education he got was from Akhund Noor Muhammad, but he was mainly or mostly self-educated. Although he received little formal education, the Risalo provides proof that he knew Arabic and Persian quite well. Risalo is the collection of all the poetry or the writings of La Latif, and that also proves that uh, Shah Abdul Latif also knew Arabic and Persian. Various references in Shahjur Risalo indicates that he had in-depth knowledge of the Holy Quran and the Hadiths. As I discussed, the Shahjur Risalo is the collection of all the poetry and writings of Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai. So, he had also the knowledge of the great knowledge of Quran and Hadith, which he used to use in his writings and poetries. His poetic collections included the Masnavi of Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi and Shah Karim's poem. He also wrote or discussed about the Masnavi of Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi and and also wrote something things about Shah Karim's poem. The fourth aspect is youth. The fourth aspect is youth. Young Latif had a very sensitive mind. While he was only a boy, he started composing poetry. His admiration for the beauty of nature. Admiration means something you are attracted towards. Means Shah Abdul Latif was really attracted to the beauty of nature, which filled his heart with the love of God. In 1713, the Sufi poet married with Bibi Saida Begum. His wife died at early age before she could have any children. However, she never married again. He never married again. His heart turned more and more toward religion and devotion. Devotion is, we can also use faith for devotion. As he was getting more closer to God and more getting more religious knowledge, he was or his faith was actually more maintaining for the God, and he felt restless. He found it difficult to live a normal domestic life. Means when his wife died, it was firstly it was difficult, but then he got into more to the religious side. He started the religious things, the reading Quran and getting more into the religious sides. And then he was happy with that. Um, he never felt the use of getting married again. Like that domestic life, that household life, the domestic, we can say something between four walls or four borders. That bordered line, he was not into that life. Moving towards the fifth aspect, spiritual growth. As I have discussed here, that he, after his wife died, he got more into the God's nature and his poetry. He started doing Sufi poetry. So, Latif's love of God grew more and more to the extent that he found more pleasure only in his devotion. As a result, he spent most of his time in prayers and deep thinking. His spiritual power grew stronger with prayers and devotion, so much that people began to be attracted towards him. Like there was a lake on the mount, like on the bank of the mount, there was a lake where Shah Latif used to sit and admire all the beauty of nature and also do prayers. That spiritual power, that deep thinking and his a lot of prayers made a lot of people attracted to him, which people made for started following him. Anyone who came to him was strongly impressed by his gentle ways, and his followers increased day by day. He used to follow the Sunnah and all the Quranic things we have learned. He used to actually do that. He used to be practical about that. So everyone who came to him with his any we can say any difficulty, He was strongly impressed the way he handles them. Close to the mound on which Lal Latif came to live it is a natural lake. His poetic nature loved the calm atmosphere. He would spend much of his time sitting on the bank of this lake. As he sat there, he prayed to God and sometimes composed verses in his praise. Sitting on the bank and looking to the nature, admiring the nature, made him so relaxed and comforting that he used to pray there. Even he used to read Quran and also compose some Quranic verses or do some poetry on God or nature sitting on the bank of the lake. Right now we have discussed the half of the chapter. Inshallah, in the next class we will discuss the rest of the chapter, but you have to underline, just read it by yourself, read the chapter by yourself, underline the question, the difficult words, and also do the homework from the homework folder. All the question and answers are given in the homework folder. You have to do question number 1 till 4. Till then, Allah Hafiz, take care.